Hi, world. Tara Seymour coming back again. Hoping all of you can hear me because, um, anyhow, all of my usual patterns are running, and I'm going to continue to pat myself on the back. For anyone who's already watched the last live stream, you probably didn't hear too much. For anyone who can lip read, I guess it was done just for you. I will record and either go just live, do it live, or record it at some time later today. What I did in the last broadcast was I clarified my own position on a number of the very current issues, just so I voiced it, and then also really spoke about who I see, and that's literally everyone, but who potentially I would love to see join this movement here. And I also really strongly made the case that joining this movement does not mean you have to leave whatever you are doing, no matter what it is. So now I want to talk a little bit more about my hopes for what could happen in this world. And I'm so hoping you can hear me. But I'm still going to start with doing another minute of coherence, because that's how I get my mind and my body connected, not fighting. And that's a challenge. And then from there, once they're talking, I'm able to broadcast that out through the heart, which will make it far more meaningful and receivable to everyone out there than if I'm speaking from my mind or just speaking from my body. So with me now, hoping you can hear me, just that 1 minute of deep breathing, seeing, sensing, feeling, and imagining that your breath flows through your heart. I suggest you breathe a little more slowly and deeply than usual. If the concept of thinking about your breath going through your heart just makes no sense, then imagine the feeling of breathing going through your heart. And breathing in and breathing out. For me today, I'm wanting to pull energy into here, so I'm thinking about breathing from here. For anyone with a breath practice already, I invite you to try it. For anyone just starting, just breathe a little more slowly and deeply and put your hand over your heart. Even if you think I'm crazy, it's only a minute of your day. If nothing in you wants to slow down and breathe, please try. There we go. For me, I feel that drop into coherence. Now I set the intention to radiate anything I'm about to say out from my heart, and it will happen or it won't, because that's how it works. So what's my goal for Find It, Feel It, Free It? Day 3, February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. Whole bunch of numerology about this time on this planet, a lot of astrology about this time on this planet, a lot of really fascinating things going on in this time, in this planet, being led out of the fascinating country that I happen to call home this lifetime anyhow, and that's Canada. And so by that I am referring to the global movement for freedom. And that is what I am hearing is a global call for freedom. And I want to create a petri dish for that vision, that reality of freedom to grow out of. So again, find it, feel it, free it is a way that for me, I am able to participate in all of the current events without creating moral and ethical gridlocks for myself. So if there's anyone else out there who's feeling a little bit like that, I invite you to listen. All of the emotional resilience teachings and so much of the energy studies that I have been doing continue to validate for me. So right now I'm asking for trust, but they validate for me that when I am truly in a coherent place, and that will involve me feeling through to my core emotions that make me feel good. What those emotions are going to vary. The emotions that make me feel good may not be the same ones that make you feel good. Okay? So this is not comparing the right or wrong emotion. This is learning within ourselves how to feel a way that feels good in ourselves. And then from there, that is going to help us bring our mind, our body center, and our heart into a space of working together. And no matter which one of these centers you work the most with, I am absolutely certain that someone is at their best when all three are connected together and you are stepping into the world from all of your power centers, not one and not even two of them. So what's my goal for Find It, Feel It, Free It? My goal is to create a literal petri dish full of collective, coherent, co-created feelings. And my hope is that we are able to do that, that whatever the decisions that are made in the next few moments, days, weeks, years, lifetimes, these decisions that are going to impact deeply, if not completely control the future of all life on this planet, including humans, including my children, including your children. So I believe that if enough of us are able to do this, and it doesn't take that many people, if enough of us do this, we will actually be able to create an energetic medium from which a collective, co-created version of freedom can generically grow. Think about this. When a baby acts out, do we tend to assume that we have to fix the baby? Or do we tend to assume that what we need to do is adapt the environment that the baby is growing in to best support that baby or that child in flourishing? I'm going to suggest that for most of us, when the child is young, whether or not we have the capability within ourselves to make that adjustment, that most of us will tend to agree that we're going to be better to work on adjusting the medium the baby is growing in. Nature or nurture, which came first, the chicken or the egg? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if we spend all our time trying to just change the baby and modeling something else, as opposed to changing the environment, babies are here to learn from the environment. So I suggest that if we learn how to change the environment, that baby is going to have a much higher probability of shifting themselves in their own time, by their own choice, with their own instinctual commitment, without them even being aware. This is a baby we're talking about. And that change will already be far more integrated and will come from a place of power, not force and fear. If anyone here listens to Greg Braden, he is one of my favorite new thought leaders to listen to. And in fact, he's doing a broadcast. It's shared on my personal Facebook feed tomorrow on Heart Brain Coherence. It's free. I invite everyone to go register because he will use different words to also describe the same concept of coherence. Because for our freedom feeling to be as meaningful as I want it to be, it's going to need to be coming out of a coherent body from every one of us. It's going to be needing to come from all three of our power centers into the world to create this environment for all of the power centers of the world to source from the same collective feeling of freedom that we have all contributed to. So if you listen to Greg Braden, he often tells the story of a Hopi prayer or a Hopi way of praying. He speaks of a friend and how they don't pray for things to happen, because energetically, when you're asking for something to happen in the moment, what you're actually saying is, it's not here yet. It's somewhere in front of you. The way of doing it is to actually feel, see, sense, feel, 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 or imagine, because all of that will lead to feeling. How you will feel should that have already happened. And then feel appreciation for that feeling and simply ask for more of that to come. Let's get the body's natural system working for us. Again, pull that up on the internet. He's got it on YouTube. Nature versus nurture. I'm saying that we together can create nurture. We can create the environment in which we want our new world to grow out of, the petri dish that actually can support freedom for all life on this planet, including humanity, including the planet. We can create this change. I'm certain of it. And I'm also certain I can't do it alone. I am not strong enough to do it alone, never mind dealing with the technology. So lots of my friends right now are actively creating freedom in their own way, and I deeply want them to keep doing it. I may be there to join you as restrictions change, and I may not. At the current moment, my own choices and my own internal limits, my own needs, don't make it the right place for me to be today, but I appreciate all of you for all that you're doing. But I'm calling on you in the moment of feeling the feeling of freedom that some of you are feeling as you are involved with supporting this Freedom Convoy. Share this feeling of freedom. Don't share your vision of freedom. That's coming from force. Share the feeling of your freedom through your heart out. Because if the way you feel now is free, just share it. And so for anyone else out there who's not on a big high right now, if there are small things you do in your life that make you feel free, if you're able to do them, start doing them and share that feeling out. If you're not currently able to do them for whatever reason, if remembering doing them creates a feeling of freedom, then remember and share it out. If that's not the feeling you get from remembering, don't use that technique. You can simply imagine, like a child, what freedom felt like as a child, or what it would have felt like if you had had the childhood that you wish you had had, and share that feeling. The key is sharing your feeling of freedom. Without the polarized mind that only sees two choices, our collective feelings of freedom will self-organize, and coherence is stronger than chaos. So if enough of us share our own feelings of freedom, truly and coherently sharing them, doesn't matter what vision created them, that feeling of coherence will invite the chaos to shift into it. Coherence is stronger than chaos. So when freed from limiting emotions and incoherence and disconnection and friction, and the limited vision of life that so many of us hold in our daily mind, when we're free from that, we can energetically create the medium to grow our future way of being. We can create the freedom grid. We are creating the grid that we are all connected to. So let's make it a freedom grid. We can all create the space for freedom, and I can't do it alone. So I'm at my 13 minutes. I am actually going to sign off on this high, and I'm going to invite all of you, whether you're listening to this live or listening to this for a moment, to simply, if this has evoked any sort of freedom in you, anything, take a moment to breathe this through. If it's made you angry, take a moment to breathe it through, just like we were doing before, because that's another magic of involving the heart. When we have that coherence, we get the learning, we complete the circuit of the emotion, and we don't end up with the incoherent, trauma-creating guck inside of us. So I'm going to sign off and do my own heart-focused breathing. I invite you to do the same, and I'll be back on again at 3 today, because by the end of today, I want to outline my goal for the campaign. Thank you all for sticking with me.